like I'm in a bad infomercial.
You don't want to know what I had to show to get these beats.
You want to show it again?
No. No, actually, Rochelle from our travel agency, which is based in New Orleans, is here, and so she brought us, and a king cake too, right, Rochelle? Oh, we love Terry and Casey and Rochelle. They're great people that keep us flying high. So
I've spent a lot of time on the phone with you.
Yes, you know Rochelle. Yes.
I need a round of applause for Rochelle for dealing with my travel arrangements. I've made Rochelle suffer, and I apologize.
It's hard, this man. Anyway,
my house. You have like 9 remote controls, right?
Yeah, you can tell how geeky somebody is by how many remote controls on the edge of the sofa, on the arm of the sofa there.
And what we better find out there's one missing. Right, my roommate's already.
There's always one missing.
My roommate's homesick. Okay, so he can't actually watch any of the television stuff without actually getting up and climbing out of. Hey, we had television to make.
These are your remote controls.
These are remote controls.
And your poor roommate.
So we got a TiVo.
TiVo.
We've got the 2 RCAs, one for the TV, one for the VCR. We've got a DVD. There's a second DVD also.
You have 2 DVDs. And probably you should have like a stereo receiver remote too, right? And I had a Laserdisc remote.
Yeah, and it starts to pile up. Now I have a problem. One of my family members had a universal remote.
Yes.
There was literally, I kid you not.
This was when you were a small lad.
I was a small child. There's like 70 buttons on it.
Yes.
I hit the button.
Yes.
To change the channel. Oh. I'm like 13.
Yes.
I want to watch Showtime.
You were
Saturday night.
This tall.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Turned on the stereo.
Yes.
Which was on. Woke up the entire house. I've never touched a universal remote since. I despise them.
It's the saddest story I ever heard.
It's sad. So I wouldn't even tell you. You have no idea.
I feel like that psychic guy in Crossing, whatever, John Edwards.
Anyhow, they're a pain to program.
Wait a minute. I'm hearing something. They're forgiving you.
They're forgiving.
They're forgiving you.
He's lying.
I am.
They're still angry. So I started playing around. I started playing remote controls because basically we've been losing remote controls. They're all over the house. We can't find them. They end up under the couch, in the couch, the back of the couch. People spill on them. So I started looking at universal remote controls. Now, you love this one. Joshua Brentano, one of our producers, loves this one. Can you see that shiny blue thing?
This thing is, I don't know if it's a good remote control because I haven't used it, but it sure looks good.
Well, what's really cool is it actually
glows.
Yeah, it glows and it changes as you change devices.
These are virtual buttons.
Patterns change.
Yeah. Press the menu button and you get a whole bunch of...
It's pretty wild stuff. So actually, if you pull back, it'll change the configuration of all the buttons down there.
These things change. It's really neat.
Pretty interesting concept. $59.95 Radio Shack, pretty easy model to find out.
The Chameleon.
Yeah, it's actually they refer to it as a different name.
They don't call it the Chameleon.
The audio-visual touchscreen remote.
Okay, so when you change, this adds these buttons. It's really amazing.
It's pretty slick. It's fun. I thought it would be impossible to use, right? But actually, you can feel the buttons underneath those. So I thought it would be hard to find the buttons.
This is just an overlay.
Exactly, but there's buttons underneath that, so it's actually not as hard as I thought it would be to get used to using.
Isn't this cool? It turns itself off, and then when you move it,
when you wiggle it,
it comes back on. So it doesn't use up the battery.
And it also makes this little tiny hum.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It's really, you can barely hear it. When you're shutting stuff off, you might notice they're turning it back on. These came out of CES. These are programmable. Most of the programmable remotes that use computers you'll see out there they look like a big giant LCD. They look like a Palm Pilot, except they cost twice as much. Right. You can't see them. You got to go look at it.
That's like the one Ozzy Osbourne has that he can never figure out how to use.
They're really irritating. I despise them. These are actually pretty cool. Our lab loves them. The 768, $299 because it's got the ability to control a PVR. And look, it's got a keypad so you can actually enter in your television channels. Isn't that nice? And the less expensive one, $199.
These are pricey.
These are extremely pricey.
A USB connection at the top so you can you program it from the computer? Is that the idea?
You program it from the computer. I'm going to show you that in a second. What's really neat about these is if you take a close look down there, it actually has television listings.
It downloads those.
Yeah, it downloads it on there. So you can basically sit in the corner and be as unproductive as you want to be. There we go.
And you could say, I want to watch this channel. It knows what devices to turn on. It'll power up everything.
But that's how you program it. Finally, I also got a classic one. Just more my speed. This costs more than any AV thing I have at home, except for like my high-end stereo. I pay more than I paid for my TiVo, more than I paid for my VCR, more than I paid for my DVD. It's a lot of money. $17.95 Radio Shack on sale.
Like it.
This is more my speed. Also programmable, pretty simple. And like most programmables, these two Radio Shacks, if you take a look at these two, when you're setting them up, right? For me and the other 4 people in the audience who've never programmed one, you pull out a book.
Oh.
Grab the book.
You got to
look to the back of the book.
You got to look up the code here.
You hold a button down, it blinks twice, and you punch in the code for the individual item you're doing.
I mean, it's just nuts.
If it doesn't work, you punch in another code.
Right.
If it doesn't work, you punch in another code.
Right.
Usually there's one or two. For two or three of the stuff I set up, both the DVD players and the television, there were 6 codes. Fortunately, the second one worked.
Oh, really? I was going to say, it's always the last one you enter.
In this case, it wasn't actually the last one. The idea is coming up with the harmony and the new programs like this. Check this out.
I like the idea of doing this on the net. Yeah.
You load the software, you connect the USB cable, and you actually go in there and you click, and you go, okay, I've got an RCA television, I've got an NAD amplifier.
Oh, see, I like that.
And I've got a
pretty
receiver.
complete list. They have everything that you had?
I'll put it to you this way. I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom really quick. If you add in all the additional options, game consoles, laptops, laserdisc players, light controllers, MIDI systems, it's programmable and extensible and can hold up to like 2 megabytes. Now, you're not done yet, because then you have to go in and type in the actual model name for each one of these.
Okay.
But once you're done, you've got a pretty easy map, and if you want to change something, you go in, you unclick, and you change it, rather than going into one of these and sitting here and holding on buttons and pressing buttons to do them.
I tried this last year, and it was too small a set of tools. Now it's gotten a little bit better.
I got to be honest with you, 3 quick things about these. Take a close look at what buttons are actually on these.
Right.
Case in point, the skip ahead and the reverse for the DVDs, there's no button for these on here, so you have to find out the channel and the other stuff that are on there. You're going to spend a lot of time mapping the buttons, and if you want all of the buttons that are on all of your remote controls, you're going to spend $200–300 for a gross programmable one. A bunch more tips up on the website. I got a little bit on each of these.
My friend, you've earned the beads of merit.
I didn't even have to get naked. Go to thescreensavers.com, check out the articles.